everybody, Gina DeLuca here. All right, today you can see I've got my Decoart paints out. I am going to be doing a straight pour using the Decoart Americana Decor Metallics line. They are magnificent cell makers when used with a paint that is glossier in finish. So we are using the hydrophobic effect to create cells without using silicone, and the way that we do that is by adding matte paints to a glossier paint. Doesn't have to be a glossy paint, just needs to be glossier than your matte paints. But the higher the difference, the more action you're going to get. So the colors that we are using today for my background slash base coat, I have Dioxazine Purple by Liquitex Basics. I know that this works really well as a background for a straight pour. Background is the paint that does not make cells. The base coat is what goes on the canvas. The background is the first color that I put into the cup that the other paints then get dumped into, and they churn and they blend, and it creates that hydrophobic effect that we all know and love that create those beautiful boulder cells. I have the Decoart Americana Decor Metallics in Amethyst. This one is Sapphire, Emerald, and this is Sterling Silver. These paints have been mixed 1 part paint to 2 parts Floetrol. That mixture is then thinned with my concoction of 90% water and 10% Floetrol until I get the proper consistency, which is, this is about a 2 on my consistency scale. If you want to know more about the consistency scale, there is a link in the description box and probably a little thing that's going to be popping up somewhere over here maybe. But this is about a 2. It is making a mound, but it disappears very quickly. It is making a nice thin stream off of my stick, an even stream. It is not getting thick and then thin and then thick and then thin. That means that you have not mixed it enough. That means that you have varying consistencies in your cup, and that is no bueno. Before we get started, have you seen the Fluid Art inspiration cards? If you have, you can fast forward about a minute, but if you have not, what we have are 52 cards. There are 42 technique cards, and each technique card has an associated video here on YouTube that gives you all of the information that you need, the exact paint brands, color, consistency, the recipe, and of course the technique, all of the stuff that I can't fit on one of these cards. This is the painting. The picture of the painting in that video. This box here contains a tip for that particular technique. And here at the bottom, we have the color palette that was used in this painting. And then these 2 boxes can be used together as the basis of a 2-color palette. You can build off of those 2 colors or just use those 2 colors. We have 8 bonus color palette cards. Each one has 5 color palettes. You can use all of the colors or just some of the colors, mix and match the bonus color palette cards with the technique cards, and you have more combinations than you could ever paint in a lifetime. These are available at my website, ginadeluca.net, and also at amazon.com. Okay, the first thing that I'm going to do is put some of my background color in my cup. I'm going to do about 2 ounces here. I did forget to mention that this color is a mixture of the Sapphire and the Emerald. That's why I mentioned those 2, but you only see 3 colors here. So this is a mixture. The green is very, very powerful. So you only need a bit of green to make it more green. But I wanted more of a teal color than blue or green. So I kind of got myself a nice little in-between color there. Okay, now I'm going to lay down my base coat, and I'm going to try to leave at least a little bit in my cup to go over the top of my paints. That seems to help me get more cells. So the reason I lay down a base coat is because I want my paints to slide around easily and uniformly. It helps to maintain the composition of my pour. And if your canvas is naked, something has to stick to the canvas first, and so that is going to be the paint that hits it first. And then the center of your paints are going to just roll over top of the edges of your paints. And sometimes the coolest stuff happens on the edges, and then you lose the option of working your composition around that. I like to give myself as many options as possible. You will notice that I have covered my edges already. I do that because sometimes, especially when I'm using Floetrol mixed thinly like this for my Boulder pours, or Boulder cell pours, whatever we're calling them these days, it may not stick to the sides all that well when it's thin like that. So I just like to make sure that my edges are well covered before I paint, because when I first started I didn't do that, and then I would have to go back after it dried and try to paint it with a brush to make it look like it was supposed to look like that. And when you are using custom colors, as I often do, like I am today even, that really makes just the things even more difficult. And why do that? I want to make things easier for myself. Work smarter, not harder. So I just find doing that ahead of time saves me a lot of trouble later on. Okay, my base coat is down, and now I'm going to put some paint in a cup. I am going to be straying from my typical layering technique, which would be having the paint with the most contrast go in last so that it ends up in the center. I don't want the center to have too much silver. I kind of still want this to be on the darker side. I don't want it to brighten up too much. So I will be putting the green in last, and then the green will end up in the center. And that green, well, it's teal, but the green and the purple together are going to look beautiful. But, all right, so I'm going to pour from up high. I want it to sink and churn and blend. That is what gives those Boulder cells that very cool 3D effect. Okay, be sure to check your consistencies before putting your paints in the cup. The sauce may thicken upon standing. Again, up high. If you hear that plop, that's a good thing. If this is intimidating, pouring from up high using paint, you can practice in your sink with water. I have often done that when I'm testing like split cups and things like that to see exactly how the paint is coming out. And then the green, which will hopefully, a bit of that will end up at the bottom. Okay. Now I'm just going to add what is left in my cup over top so that all of those paints have a chance to react with my background paint. It can't react if it's not touching it. Although generally the stuff that's at the top winds up getting tilted off, but again, keeping options open. Okay, I am going to spin slowly, Pour quickly, turn clockwise. I'm gonna pop these bubbles really quickly. Bubbles in base coat so that they don't come up through my pour. Oh, later on. Satchmo has the zoomies. Okay. Pouring clockwise, or spinning clockwise, spinning slowly, pouring quickly. That's what I'm aiming for, and going to try my darndest to stay in the center. My work surface isn't level, so it does have a tendency to lean to one side. As I get towards the end of the cup, I will get closer to the canvas. This will give me more control. Here comes my green. And then once I have that last color come out, which is the green, I like to give it 1.5 turns. That is the Fibonacci 1 to 1.5. Okay, well, I'm gonna take a point off for that dismount. Nothing. Hi, Satchmo. Nothing terrible, but I just like to tidy that up. Okay. Well, we obviously have some cell action going on here already. But I'm going to let this paint puddle percolate. I'm going to pop these bubbles. Oh, burning 2 times. So as I pop these bubbles, it is going to bring paint from the layers underneath. And because that paint is matte, when it gets near that dioxazine purple, it's going to push that purple away and create cells. And then as it sits, those cells will get bigger, they will expand, and it will give you those awesome 3D Boulder cells when you spin it or tilt it. You stretch it out, and those cells get bigger. The bigger you allow them to get before you tilt, the bigger they will be after you tilt or spin, whichever the case may be. While I allow this paint puddle to percolate, I can tell you a little bit what's happening. We have a Patreon account now. Join us over there on Patreon. There are weekly Zooms where we do Q&As and kind of help each other work through whatever hurdles we might be having that are keeping us from becoming the artist that we would like to be. And we are currently working on doing a splash painting. So there is content over there that you will not find here. Most recently, I put up basically how to sketch, learning how to sketch so you can learn how to see where the highlights and the shadows are in the splash, so it's easier to do when you're attempting it on a canvas. It will be much less daunting if you try it on paper first, and so there is a lesson on basically just learning how to look at it to see where your shadows are and where your highlights are and your midtones. I'm just making sure that my center is centered. How the rest of it spins off is not quite as important as making sure that my center is centered when I want it centered. Typically, I don't have my focal point in the center unless I'm doing one of these spirals. Typically. Yes, so Patreon, we're having lots of fun over there, and I do hope that you join us there. There's also a private Facebook group, which I do check daily and comment daily, respond to everybody's posts, because I can't do that on Go Make Some Art. Like, you know, I do love that group. I love what we've created over there. But there's 60,000 people in there, and I cannot comment on everyone's posts. That was my solution. I do want to be able to interact with people more, but I also need to, you know, work and live and stuff. Also, I will be teaching in April at the Fluid Art Experience in Seattle. There will be a trailer at the end of this video that will give you more information on all of the wonderful artists who are going to be there. So do check that out. Just hang around till the end to see that trailer. Or you can just pop in the description box and click on the link to the fluidartexperience.com and book your class today. I will be teaching how to do this. I'll be teaching, well, I don't know if we'll have spinners, but I will be teaching how to mix for straight pours and cloud pours, how they are different, because it is different. Yeah. And so the Patreon, you'll find the link for that in the description box too, but it's just patreon.com/Gina DeLuca. Okay, this is percolating nicely, y'all. I got just enough of that silver in there to make places, you know, kind of have a bit of a highlighted effect. I didn't want the silver to be overpowering. I didn't want silver cells. I wanted that silver to attach to the green and the purple. And this green looks much more green against the purple. All right. I think we can give this a twirl now. It's pretty filled up with cells. There's still more cells popping up, but they'll pop up later. I have plenty here to work with. So let's give this baby a spin. Let me just make sure that my center is indeed centered. Okay. Remember, you don't have to spin fast. It will get to its destination. If you've ever had paint shift on you, after you walked away, you know how much it can move with just being ever so slightly unlevel. And I do like to do it slowly because I want to keep an eye on everything that's happening. I'm looking at all my corners. I'm seeing, is one side kind of tilting off more than another? My center is still centered. That is my biggest concern. Just need a wee bit more on these corners. I'm going to just give them a little bit of juice here so it slides off a little easier. I could just leave it like this. Perhaps maybe I should. I don't want to lose these green cells here. I definitely used more paint than I needed. Better too much than not enough. Okay. I'm going to leave this alone. I am going to let it sit and do what it's going to do. I'm sure more cells are going to pop up. That is just the nature of the straight pour. And we'll see what happens. So, back in a few. Okay, here it is. Very happy with how this one came out. It was pretty much what I was going for. I was kind of hoping that the green was going to be a bit more of a blue green. That green is very powerful, but it still looks beautiful together. I am not mad. I love that blending going on there between that metallic amethyst and the dioxazine. That will look even better once it's dry because the dioxazine will dry very dark, almost black. Not quite black, but almost black. But where you get that blending with the silver and with the amethyst, it just, yes, yes. Got like a little sleeping dragon right there. little baby dragon sleeping. It always looks like a baby something in the middle. One was a tardigrade. Little water bear. Anywho, that is what happened with this one. I hope you learned something. I hope you enjoyed. Please do like, share, and subscribe and all that good stuff. Make sure you click that bell. If you are subscribed and you have not been receiving notifications, make sure you have clicked that bell so that you get notifications. YouTube changed some things and now people are not getting notifications. Basically, my videos are the views that I get. It's 0.03% subscribers. So I think something happened there because, I mean, if that many people didn't like it, then they would just unsubscribe, right? So something is amiss with that that whole bell situation. So click the bell. Also, you will find in the description box links to my affiliates, Decoart being one of them. If you want to get your hands on some of these paints, you can go through the website, the Decoart website, and there is a coupon code in my description box. And any of the affiliate links that you use in the description box or any of those codes, you use those codes, I receive a small commission and it doesn't cost you anything more. And so that's like Amazon and Arteza and Decoart and Color Art and the Paint Pour Store. Blick. I have lots of affiliates in there, so if you're doing your online shopping, by all means, think about your girl. I am very happy with how this one came out. No complaints. Also in the description box, you'll find the link to our Patreon. Little family we have going over there. It's patreon.com/Gina DeLuca. Check that out. FluidArtExperience.com. Check that out. Stay tuned for the trailer after this video to get more information on who will be there. Go to the website to get that information as well, to book your class. I'm excited to meet some of y'all in person. What what am I missing? Am I missing anything? I always feel like I'm missing something. All right, well, I guess that's it. I hope y'all have a beautiful day. Now go make some art.